Ballard. I'm so pleased you're able to join us today on the webinar. I have a few announcements, and then we will turn the time over to Cynthia Coulon, who is the product manager at Heritage Makers, to do some studio training for us. Please check the Facebook page. Our team Facebook page will at least twice a week. I go there every day. Most people are checking it daily. There's a lot of changes and information there, and I would highly recommend that you check our team Facebook page regularly. Things are happening very quickly, and you will want the most current information. I did post a little bit about the refill pages. It's prudent to get your credit for them whether you're experiencing any problems or not, and I will update you with more information regarding that as they become available. But if anyone should have an issue in the future, they could use the top-loading sleeves that will be coming in next month, trim off the reinforced edge, and slip it in there. I have not had any problems myself, but Rhonda always wants to err on the side of caution and be sure everyone is completely happy with their pages. I noticed that there is a studio training tonight featuring school ideas, and I would highly recommend you invest your time watching these trainings so you can feel confident in helping your clients and in completing projects yourself. It's a great idea to get a head start on what you want to share at your open house for the fall. So I highly recommend you spend time in studio every week. The one thing I learned through Creative Memories was I helped a lot of people with their pictures, and I didn't work on mine as often as I wanted to. So I am committing to do that now, and it feels great. It will make a big difference in your business if you feel comfortable with studio. The CEO packs are on sale now through July 20th. They are $100 off now. You may have heard the term CEO qualified. That means you have purchased the CEO kit and you are at the RMB or above level. So you have at least 3 people who have ordered $50 or more of QV, and you yourself have ordered $150 in QV. Being CEO qualified means you've unlocked the bottom half of the comp plan chart. Longevity pays you in about 10 different ways, and when you are CEO qualified, you've opened yourself up to being paid in every way the company has to compensate you. So the more invested you are, the more money is available to you. If you have questions about this, please contact your sponsor or me to discuss it. I did post on the Facebook team page what is in each of the CEO kits so you can see the contents there. I purchased the Heritage Makers CEO kit, and when you do that, you get 2 coupons for 70% off. One is a 16 by 20 canvas. It's beautiful. And one is 70% off a Heritage Makers brag bag. Both amazing products to share with customers. You also receive an 8x8 digital book, a Heritage Makers bag, and some printed information, and then 350 points to order anything that you want to. You can choose to use that 350 points on Heritage Makers product, traditional product, or longevity product, or any combination of those. You decide what you want. It's like you're designing your own training kit according to what you are interested in. Heritage Makers really does not make money on these CEO kits. They are giving it all back to you in the way of product. So the Heritage Makers CEO pack costs you $3.99 this month through the 20th. Normally, normally it's $4.99, and it has a $625 value. So I would really take a look at that and talk to your downline that are business builders about taking advantage of this amazing offer. When you purchase the CEO kit now in July, you will also have met the PQV requirement in order to become an RMD if you're not there yet. Remember, you need $150 in PQV personally, and this requirement is met within the CEO kit purchase. You do not have to purchase another $150 in PQV. So when you have those 3 people that are ordering $50 or more, you can rank advance to the RMD level. If you have someone else on your team that purchases a CEO kit in your downline, and you have a few other sales that equal $1,000 in group volume, you can advance even further to the level of EMD. So that can happen today, and you can rank advance tomorrow. They run the ranks every Thursday night, and they will show up on the Youngevity site on Friday. So you can do that this week, or you can do that next week. If you have questions, please contact your sponsor or me, and we can walk you through it and develop a strategy to move you forward. Once you have hit that RMD level, you can start receiving coding bonuses on others within your team, and that's your first goal if you are here to make money with Heritage Makers. Rhonda is having a call with leaders tomorrow morning, so if there are updates, I will post them on the Facebook page for you. Now for the fun stuff. Cynthia has graciously offered to do studio trainings, and we are so pleased she would take the time today for our team. She works closely with Rhonda, and I first met her at the Youngevity Convention, where she helped to advertise our new line of traditional product with posters and pages showing each collection. She has been very warm and welcoming, and she's looking for ways to advertise our Memories for Life line into Heritage Makers. And I think what I appreciate the most about her is she's both professional and fun, and that's a great combination. So to tell you a little bit more about her, she's the product manager at Heritage Makers. She's been with the company for the past 3 years. She has a long professional background in the memory keeping industry as a writer, a product designer, and a product manager. She owned a scrapbook paper manufacturing company for several years and worked with some of the largest companies in the industry. She has 5 children, 2 in college, 2 in high school, and 1 going into 3rd grade. So she's experienced all of those different levels, which is great. They have chickens, a goat, 2 dogs, and a horse. She has a master's in communications. She has a design team that she works with at Heritage Makers, and you may have heard some of their names. And you're going to have to help me, Cynthia, if I say these wrong, but I think it's Roxanne Buchholz. Is that right?
Buchholz. Yeah, it's
Buchholz.
And I say it wrong every time I look at it, so I just have to not look at the spelling.
Buchholz. And then, isn't it Marin?
Yes, well done.
Marin Barney and Brooke Mayer and Anna Bates. Is that right?
Right. So Marin is the creative director here, and so all of so many of the really great new pieces, marketing pieces that you'll see coming through Youngevity, the training pieces, all kinds of stuff. People in Heritage Makers know it when they see Marin's and Anna's work, and love it and love to see what they come up with. It's clean, it's fresh, it's beautiful, it conveys messages, and it's super fun. So I've got all these talented people. Roxanne is the one that leads out on our studio classes, like the one we'll be having tonight. And Brooke answers all kinds of questions, makes fabulous templates. Both Anna and Brooke's templates are at the top. And Roxanne are at the top of our most used templates. So they just have a real good handle on what people want and what people love. So it's great.
That's wonderful. I noticed that right away in the template gallery. Those were the names that I was always drawn to when I would look at templates. So I agree. They do an excellent job. When I asked Cynthia why she was drawn to Heritage Makers, she said she loves to help people find the best solution they can for preserving their stories and photos. And so I can tell she's a kindred spirit. That's how we feel too. Thank you, Cynthia, for taking your time to teach us today, and we're going to turn the time over to you.
Oh, excellent. Well, I appreciate you inviting me to join you. It's my pleasure to be here, and I always love, even though I don't get to hear most of those of you who have joined, I get to feel like I'm communicating with you and spending some time with you. Let's see, I did want to remind you or invite you to answer or to ask questions, and you should have a little question box where you can type in questions, and this we'll try to answer those as we go if we can, so don't hesitate to do that. So assuming you can see my screen, I forgot to ask in the beginning, so if maybe some of you want to go ahead and type into the question box, yes, I can see your screen. What you're looking at would be the Heritage Makers homepage. Oh, good. Thanks, Val. So this is the Heritage Makers homepage. I hope that you've been there and visited our site already. And what I wanted to start with showing you today was that we've got your back. We really want to encourage you, like Jeanette said, to get into Studio, to enjoy it for yourself, and therefore you can share your enthusiasm and knowledge with your customers and other team members. So down here in this bottom menu, you can click on this page. It's called Tutorials and Classes. And it will spin for a second. And here on this page, this is a great place for you to come. If you haven't joined us on a Studio U class yet, that's what we call them, we have upcoming classes here, and you just click to register the same way you did to register for this webinar. And then we have our recent classes and our archived classes, and these are a resource for you and a resource for your customers. The two classes I'd really recommend if you haven't gotten into Studio much yet would be these Studio 101 classes. If we scroll down a little bit, here's this Studio 101 Getting Started, Part 1, and then we've got this Getting Started, Part 2. And these really are classes that cover the basics from loading your photos, uploading your photos, to just swapping a photo into a template, and all the steps in between. So I recommend you take the time to watch those, and they're great recordings. You can stop and play a little and restart and rewind and all that. So feel free to use those resources. Also, we've got this Need Help button over here, and if you click on it, you can initiate a chat with customer service or submit a support request. So these are ways you could get customer support help, but we've got a really great knowledge base that includes Studio tips and tricks and techniques. And so if you ever have a question, like the ones I'm about to go over, you come here. So one of the questions that Jeanette submitted me is really about, can you take, for example, a 12 by 12 scrapbook page that you've designed and put it into a different product, like a 12 by 12 canvas or a 12 by 12 book? And so the answer to that is yes, and I'll show you how. But that tool that we use to do that is called Import Page. So if you can remember Import Page, and you type it in here and search by clicking Enter, you'll see that there are all kinds of articles about that. So if I click on that, I'll end up in this support center, and this one links you to a special video that shows you how to use the import page. A lot of the articles have illustrations or images to help you, so do use this tool. It's a really fantastic tool, help tool. And we're trying to add articles all the time. And when I say we, I mean Brooke. Okay, so I've got this, let me drag it over. Here's this big old list of questions that Jeanette sent me, and it's actually not as bad as it looks. A lot of the answers I can just say yes or no, but we want to start in Studio, and I will answer these questions as we go. So I've opened a project in Studio. It's a blank, this is a blank 12 by 12 lay flat storybook. And so one of the first questions we had was, how do you, what's an easy way to mat a photo? So we know that most of our photos are 4 by 6 or 6 by 4. And what's an easy way to mat that? And so I wanted to go ahead and show you that. Down here, this is the Content Explorer. You have a My Photos tab, Text tab, and different tabs. Again, if this is very new to you, go back and watch those videos and you'll get familiar right away with what we're doing here. But let's see, photos. I'm going to go ahead and grab a photo up. I know this isn't the cutest or most fun photo. She's a beautiful person, but yeah, it's not probably typical of the photos you'd put in a book or scrap page. But anyway, here's a photo. It does have the 4 by 6 dimensions, and there are several ways you can make a photo mat. One of the ways is to go over into our toolbox here and to go to this Effects tab and to put a border on this photo. So if you see, if I drag this line over, I'm creating this large border. I can come here, click on this little box, and make it a different color so we can see it better. We can put a nice dark gray mat on it. And so you can see that's added an edge, that's added a border. So I can make it big, I can make it small. And, you know, that's fairly easy, but it is a solid color and it doesn't feel layered exactly. I can't put if I put a drop shadow on this photo, now that it has a border attached to it, the drop shadow is going to end up outside of the border. So anyway, if you like this look, that is certainly a way you can do it, but I'm going to remove the border over here. The other way is to go into your art collection, and if you only have basic art, hide the Premiere art so that you don't use it and then can't publish with it. But you're just going to find any old collection. Well, that's how we'll do it. We'll find a nice collection. I'll pull up this paper, and okay, there are several things we can do here. We can put the paper on top, send it to the back. This is how you layer things. Send it to the back, so now it's behind, and I can, you know, pull the paper. It holds its proportionality, unless I tell it not to. And I can do something like that, and then decide, okay, now I will eyeball, and I'm going to crop this paper to be kind of the photo mat that I want. And then I'd say done and say, okay, well, you know, that's kind of a papery photo mat, and now my shadowed picture does look like it's layered on top, and I can also click on my paper and add a shadow to that, you know, if I'm all about shadows and like that look. So that's another way you can make a photo mat. One of my favorite ways, because I like to be really precise, I don't know what it is about me, maybe because I have so little control over my 5 children, I like to control something. So I come in the art collection, I type in maybe the word gray, grayscale, or shapes, and we have these grayscale papers here. And I'm going to bring one onto my page, and over here in the Layout tab, I can set the size of this square here, and I can unlock the proportions. So now I can make the square into a rectangle, and if my photo's 4 by 6, actually I don't know anymore what it is. Let's see what it is. I'm going to make my photo 6 and see if it creates. Okay, so it's about 4 by 6. It's almost 4 inches wide, 6 inches high. That's what my photo is. And I'm going to take this mat and say that I unlock the proportions, and I want the height to be 6 1/4, so it's going to stick out a little bit. And I want the width to be 3 1/4, and wait, that doesn't make sense. 4 1/4, right? It's not as that hard as I'm making it look, believe me. Okay. Okay, what did I do wrong? Anyway, I'm trying to make this a size that's appropriate for this picture. If the picture is 3.97 wide, and somehow, there we go. That worked. Okay, so now my mat, this mat is the right size, but what I can do with it is, when I lock it, now I can go back into the art collection, go home, and I can open other interesting, fun collections with patterns and colors and stuff, and I can drag. Let's move this photo out of the way. Here's our photo mat. It's locked. It's the right size for my photos. I can now drag different paper into it, and it will take on the attributes of the paper. And now this can be, and I can try different things on it. Say, okay, I like that, or I want to try something else. And so you can just keep going and going. And if I'm going to have multiple 4x6 photos on my page or in my project, and I want lots of mats, this is my starting point. This is my mat that I'm always going to use for my vertical photos. And so I can copy it with the copy tool. I can paste it. I can use it over and over and drag other things into it. So I can just start with one. So if I get the right dimensions for my photo mat to start with, I can then use that photo mat over and over and over. So that's how to do photo mats. Let's see, how can you convert a 12x12 book into an 8x8 book? Or how do I bring my 12x12 scrap pages into a book, or whatever? Yes, you can take pages from other projects and put them into new projects that aren't the same, type or even the same size. And that's what we call our import page feature. So over here, I'm going to go to a blank page. So again, this is my lay flat storybook, and if I've gone and created a lot of 20 or 30 scrapbook pages, I now want to bind them into a really nice looking lay flat book. So this is how I'm going to do it. Down here in your Content Explorer, there's this My Projects tab, and this houses your current project. So what you're working on currently, we can look on that front cover and see that this is what I have going on my front cover. On page 1, it's completely blank. So that's my current project. My unfinished projects are the ones that I haven't published, I haven't completed. They're works in progress. And then I have completed projects, which are things that I have finished, and many of them I have ordered. But in my unfinished projects here, I have something called the 12x12 scrap page. Not very creative, but that's what I named it. So I find, anything, lots of names. You kind of need to remember what you're referencing. But you just scroll down into these different project folders, and I found this one, and I click on the page 1. My scrap page only has one page. That makes sense. And I say import page, this little button here. And it's going to ask my permission that I really want to do this, because if I had other items on this page already, this import page feature will remove them and just add what I've got on here. So yes, just say yes. And then you wait for a second. And here's my page as it is as a scrap page, and I want to put it into this book. Now, because the book has binding and everything else, the page doesn't fit perfectly. So I can't just leave it the way it is. I need to try to bring the important things, like my photos, into the safe area. So I'm just going to grab everything as a group, which you can do by saying Edit, Select All. And so everything's selected as a group. And unlock it, and now as a group I can resize it. So I'm going to make it a little smaller, and I can move it around. I just want to make sure I feel that everything that's important to me is in that purple dashed line, that safe area. So I think that will work nicely. But of course, this background page, see, now we've got all this white space. I do need to make sure that I drag whatever my background page is all the way outside my bleed so I don't end up with any white gappy parts. So I'm going to now, you know, I'm not selecting everything. I'm just selecting my background paper, and I'm going to pull it up and drag it out. So, I mean, that's just one example of a way to bring a page over. Let's start something else.
Or just transformation content.
I'm quitting. Actually, while I open something else, let's turn time over to Brooke. I will make her the presenter, give her the power, and she's going to talk about my favorites folder, because that was another question. So let's see. Do you see anything, Brooke, that's telling you I'm giving you the control?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let's see. Whoops. There we go.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Everyone's seeing my
Not yet. Oh, there we go. Yep. We're seeing you and your cute little boy.
Yes, you should see my cute little boy in the rain. Okay. I'm going to just tell a little bit about the My Favorites tab. So the biggest question that we get, the most asked question that we get, is how do we add things to folders in the My Favorites tab? So this is the tab just down in the Content Explorer. If I want to add something, say I go into the art collection and, okay, I like this collection, but you know, I really like this little button right here, and I want to add it to the My Favorites tab. Well, I can't obviously just drag it over right here into the tab. It won't work. It doesn't know where it's trying to go. So if we want to add to the My Favorites tab, we click this little button right here. Notice it says click to pop out, and all it does is just pop out the My Favorites tab into a little box, and you can drag it around, you can move it wherever, but it'll just automatically drop out right on top of the Content Explorer. And then you go down here to whatever you want to add, and you can create folders in the My Favorites tab. If I go in under embellishments, and I got these little ones, so I've got buttons, and I've got a few that I like that I know that maybe I'll use in the future. And you can go and just grab it and just drag it into that space. And then it automatically adds it just down at the bottom of the list. And there it is. And then if I were to close this, then notice it comes right back down here into the Content Explorer. So I can open the My Favorites and, okay, I really like that one, but now I'm in some other project and I want to find that collection again. I can just click it. If my computer likes me, I'll try this one. If I click it, it pops up this little window, and I can say open this collection. It tells me which collection it is, and then if I click it, it'll just go and it'll open the collection that I pulled that from. See, there's that button that I had right there. And then I can go in here and add anything that I want to my project. And so that's just an easy way to keep track of little items that you know you like. Or another way of using it, if I'm making a project, like I know I'm going to be working on a yearbook for 2014, and I know that I have these photos that I've just done for my mother's birthday back in May, and I finally got them uploaded and I want to put them in here. So I know I've got them right here in my photos, but I really want to just pick the ones that I want that I know I'm going to use on my page for my 2014 yearbook. So I go in here and I've created a folder for 2014, and then I'm going to add a subfolder, and we're going to just name that May, because I know that the pictures are going to be on my May page of my yearbook. And then I go in here and I just click on May, and if I want to pop it out, I can go to my photos and I can find the pictures that I know I want to use. So like if I go down to the bottom and just go from the bottom to the top, I don't know why I do that, and I make sure that I have May selected, and then I can just drag the photos that I know I want to use up into this folder. I can also go in here to the art collection and say, you know, I think on that May page I want to use this collection right here because it's a really fun new collection. This is one of our new collections for the month. And you know, I might want to use some of these papers, and I know that I like this word art right here. And that way, when I start that project, when I start working on that yearbook, I can go in here and I know that the pictures that I want to use are there. I don't have to go and search through my photos. I already have the ones picked out that I want to use. I have papers and items that I know I want to use. But then if I'm in that project and I decide, you know, I want to see what other papers in that collection that might be fun to use. And it's not doing it obviously because I just added them, which is odd. It might be my computer. But if you go in and click the pages that you have in there, you can tell it to open that collection, and then you have that collection there that you can go through and say, okay, you know, I also want to use this page or these embellishments. So it's an easy way to keep track of either the photos, the items, the collections even that you know you want to use or might use, or to keep track of items that you know you like. Like I have a set of alphabets here that I know I really like. And so that way if I'm in a project later on, I can just go in and say, you know, I think this alphabet right here might work really well on this page. And I can just click the alphabet, open the collection, and then I have the whole alphabet. Oops, not that one. I have the whole alphabet down the line here, right here. And so that way I know I have all the letters here. If I wanted to spell out, like if I wanted to spell my son's name across here, Aiden, and I could just pull up the alphabet letters that I need and use them. It's an easy way to keep track of things that you know you like or things that you plan to use in the future. So that's basically it. And the only trick is to add things, like I said, whether it's photos or embellishments. All you do, I've already got that alphabet. We'll add this yellow one. All you do is you click on, well, you have to pop it out like we did, and then you click on the folder, whatever folders that you want to add it to, and you just drag it in. And then it just adds it there for you to use. And I don't know if I said this, but to add, so if you're wanting to better organize here, I mean, I've got these already set, but if I want to add an album under my favorites, because you'll start with just the My Favorites folder, and then it'll have one underneath that you can change the name of or add more. But you just click Add a Subfolder. And so say I want to add one for, I don't know, we'll just say papers. I say papers, and then it'll add, my computer isn't updating what I'm seeing, but you've got papers here. And it's not a folder yet because it doesn't have anything under it, but I can add a subfolder, and I could say stripes. And so then now that's a folder, and I've got subfolders underneath it. And you can keep going. You can keep adding layer upon layer all the way down. Just like under projects, I've got by the year and then by the month. And you can change the name of a folder or add a description just by clicking just that little edit that shows. So you've got add a subfolder, you've got edit the folder, or you can delete it. Say, you know, I don't want a folder for stripes. And there it goes. And that's basically all there is to the My Favorites tab. Just explore with it and see if maybe it's something you want to use to help keep track of things that you know you like or are going to use. I think that's it, Cynthia.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome.
She knows all about the favorites. She knows all about everything, really. So she's a really great go-to person. And I know that I don't tend to use the My Favorites folder, but there are plenty of people who do. And certainly if you like organizing and having quick access to things that you know you love, then that's a great way to go. So before we just move on, I'm very quickly going to show you just another example of import page. Here is a blank 12 by 12 scrapbook page. And I have an 8 by 8 scrapbook page in my unfinished project that I really want to turn into a 12 by 12 page. So I open this. Remember, this is in my project. I'm going to open the folder of the project and click on the page that I want. And now I'm going to say import page. And yes. And wait, la 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 la. Okay, now in this case, this is a great example of showing, okay, we need to, the proportions are correct, and I'm not going to have to adjust that, but I do want to bring it into the 12 by 12 size. So what, again, I'm going to do is come over and edit, select all. So now I've got everything, and when I've got this red border, it does mean that it's locked, so I need to unlock it before I can move it as a group. And now I'm just going to drag it. Ooh, that's too big. A little bit glitchy here. Okay, and that's about right. Also, I tend to make tiny adjustments and moving things around, and one of the ways I do that, because the mouse isn't always great for those fine little movements, are my arrow keys on my keyboard. I can, if I'm pressed down a little bit, do you see how that just went down a smidgen, and now I really feel like I'm right where I want to be. So that's that, and it's of course easiest to use the import page feature when you're, where the project or the page you're moving is going to at least be very similar to the proportions of the project you're moving it onto. Like if I had moved this page onto a rectangular canvas, I'd have quite a lot of more work to do to adjust it to make it all fit well, but it can be done. And so use that import page feature, use that help. If you want to review and you've got those videos and other articles you can look at for reference.
One thing to note, if I may, Cynthia.
Oh yeah, of course.
When you import from a smaller project into a larger project, you always want to go through, like with the picture she has on there, and click to see what color the border is, especially important with pictures, but also good thing to check with embellishments, just to make sure that the border hasn't gone into the orange or the red. Because if that picture right there was in the red, then there's quite a good likelihood that it would print quite blurry.
Yes, that's a really good point. Going from smaller to larger, you want to make sure the resolution on everything is still large enough to print well. And we do have that handy border that this is the way we let you know it's going to be just fine, is this green border. Yeah, if we get it that yellow and red, we're in the kind of risky zone there. But that does bring up just one of those other common questions. One of the most common questions we'll get is about things looking not completely crisp and clear on your studio editing screen, including photos that you are sure are crisp and clear and large resolution photos. And the reason for that is that you're working on an online program, and so everything, all the images, everything is brought into a low-res version for you to work on so that the tool can run in good time and without bogging down. So you can be assured, as long as those borders are in the green, that everything's going to print beautifully and just fine. So don't let the screen image throw you. Just make sure you check. And yeah, that's probably about it for this. Whoop, there it goes. I want to bring over these fine questions so we can answer those, and you can make sure that I've done that. Okay, computer, there we go. So I think we've talked about where we find photo mats, or basically what's an easy way to mat a photo. We've talked about import page. I'll just write this here so you remember how to do that. The favorites we went through. Can we print pictures? The answer is not specifically, no. We don't have a photo printing service. Is it coming in the future? We've certainly thrown that idea around, and if we're going to do it, we're going to do it in the best way we can with premium photo paper and everything else. So the answer to that is really, let's try to make my answers better. Stay tuned. You'll see. Can a basic member design with Premiere content? Yes, but they just can't publish unless they're in Club or pay for Premiere. That's true. Yep.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
That's not quite accurate.
Okay, go ahead.
If you have a basic membership and you try to add Premiere artwork, it will pop up a little warning saying you can't add it. And the same with if you try to start a Premiere template. But if you say you had Premiere and started a template and were working on it, but then you went down to a basic membership, any template that you've already started working on or any art that's already in a project that you've got will stay in there. You just won't be able to add new Premiere artwork.
Gotcha. Okay, yes. Thank you, Brooke. So that is the next. See, Brooke should just be doing these. Yes. Exactly. If you start with Premiere, or on occasion we do a promotion that's called Free Premiere so that anyone can open and use all those templates and art, then if you've got it working and you've got it in progress, yes, you can publish it. If you've got an off Premiere or stopped Club and you're back to basic, but you have published or completed Premiere projects, you can continue to publish those. You can publish additional copies. So that's yes. Wow, I'm bad at typing. Are there plans to include photo editing features? That's another request that we get, but probably not is the answer, but you never know. We've got a pretty magical design or development team, but what you need to remember again is that since Studio is an online tool, it's fantastic that way. It's this huge, rich software, but you can use it online. Anyone can access it as long as they have internet. We can't always add every feature under the sun. It's so feature rich already, but to add photo editing features like red eye reduction or different things, we don't always have that ability to add every feature you want. So I'm not sure is the answer. Certainly if those things become realistic within the Studio program, we'd add them because we know they're desirable, but that's again one of those type of answers. Stay tuned. More fonts. We love fonts. We all love fonts. They're kind of cumbersome to add to Studio, but yes, we always have plans to add more, and I will any new features and products will be announced in September, in mid-September at the Longevity Leadership Summit. So that's where you might find out about that. Is there a way to have a font size larger than 150? That's a great question. That was one of my first questions when I started doing Studio, because who wants these little itty-bitty fonts all the time? You want a nice big title. So let's quickly show you how to do that. In the text box, let's just type something. Here it is, and what you're all probably used to or have discovered at this point. If I sit here and do this over here, I'm increasing the point size, or again, I can do it up here in the toolbox. I'm increasing the point size, or I'm dragging it, and I drag it all the way up to 100, and I go up a ways, and then it stops becoming bigger. So you always have to resize this green box so that you're not cutting off your letters as it becomes bigger when you're using that toggle switch here. But yeah, you're pretty much stuck, and nothing else is happening. It's not growing. The number goes to 150, and you feel like there's the dead end. But what you do is click on your text and hold down. Let's see. I'm on a Mac. So what PC keys do you hold down? Brooke, are you there?
Yes, just a second. I'm pulling back my Studio up.
Okay, so I'm holding down Command.
On a PC, it's Control.
Okay, so on a PC, it's Control. On a Mac, it's Command. And when I hold down the Command button, not only can I stretch it and make it bigger, I can also skew it or change. I can make them tall and skinny. I can make them fat and short. If I want to keep the original scale or proportion of that font, I'd hold Command or Control and Shift, right? Is that same on so Control Shift on the PC, Command Shift on the Mac, and yeah, I can now make it huge. So yeah, that's a fun tip to know. Make those as big as you want. So there's that. Yay, we know that. Yes, we can do that. Saving projects. Okay, yes, that's always a concern, hoping and that your project is continuing to save on its own. And yes, Studio is designed to save your project while you work, even if you don't click save. But being paranoid, I hit save quite often whenever I'm working on anything, whether I'm writing or in Photoshop or whatever. But do click the save button, but yeah, I don't think you need to really worry, like if your internet went down or your electricity went down for a bit, that you'd have much loss there.
I click it compulsively as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things because you can't be too safe. No, in every program, and there are some, it happens around here. You'll hear some people now and then, and it's not in Studio, but in other art programs, people going, it just froze, and I lost my work,
or my computer restarted, and now it's gone.
So it's not a happy thing. So we tried to prevent that there in Studio. Elements, matching customized envelopes, yes, that would be awesome. And yes, our printer can do it. No, it hasn't been a product yet added to our product line, but again, we'll be introducing some new products in September, so just always be on the lookout for what's coming next. But I can't tell you right now. Haha. Okay, direct ship items. Is there a list? Well, if you open up the website and you go up to products, and you go into greeting cards, so I guess it's not the perfect, slowly, what's going on here?
I think our internet's slow today. I don't know what
it is. Okay, so here are greeting cards, and it's not as easy to see. So, maybe we just need to put a list in our help center so we can do that. But as you click on a view details, if you're looking at the details of a product, a card that should open here on the features, you can see that this one direct ships. In the template gallery, come on, template gallery.
I will get a list up today.
Okay.
So
wow. Ask Brooke will do it. Same kind of thing. If you click on an invitation and you scroll down, you see those product details. Yes, this one has direct shipping. But you're right, not all of them do. And so let's make that list. Thank you, Brooke. Is it okay to submit a template that you based on a Pinterest idea? My answer is yes. It doesn't. Templates are subject to our approval, of course, and we have quite a lot of reasons why we do and why we don't accept them into the gallery. So if you're interested in submitting templates, just submit them. And if you have, you can write into your description, I saw this project, I was inspired by a project on Pinterest, just to let us know, and maybe we'll look into it a little more to be sure that we're feeling okay about it. But a lot of, so much of what's out there is inspired by what else is out there. Everything is sort of inspired from somewhere, and so I don't worry about it too much. The place I worry about it is if it's an idea that some small little independent person is using for income for themselves. So if they're a digital designer and they have made these really cute invitations or whatever, and they're selling them as printables or selling them, and I wouldn't want to take away from their business. So be sensitive. But certainly for yourself, go for it. HM drawing slip pads. So there's some drawing slip pads. You can buy them and buy YGY in the supply center. They look like this, and some people like to use them at events or whatever to gather contact information. And what's the question again? Sheesh. Oh, what? Okay. So someone saw that we have monthly project ideas, and what does that refer to? If someone says they want to receive monthly project ideas, how in the world do you fulfill that as a consultant? Well, monthly project ideas are given through our newsletter. We have a newsletter that consultants who have VO Plus and subscribe to VO Plus, everyone on their contact list that's opted in receives this monthly newsletter that's full of template ideas and new template ideas and new art and everything else. And so that's how that happened in the past. Going forward, very soon, I think we're going to be, as a company, sending out a weekly project idea to everyone who's opted into receiving email from Heritage Makers, and that would include consultants and customers. So I don't know if that fully answers that question. And a recommendation for adding to that slip, I will tuck that recommendation away to leave a slot for a person's full address. But since these are supplies and they're made in large quantities, we won't make changes until all of those quantities have sold and we're ready to restock. So there aren't really any plans to get around Flash to make Studio compatible with iPads or other mobile devices. We just keep waiting for Flash to become compatible, and then we'll be all set. But we do have other things in the works that will bring some of the fun ability to design custom cards and projects and using those mobile devices. So again, just stay tuned. And let's see, when you have, there are people that end up with 2 accounts. Someone opens a Studio account, then they become a distributor, and I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I'm sure Brooke does. But basically, if you end up with 2 Studio accounts, you can call customer service and they will help you fix that and merge those. I don't think it's something you can do by yourself. Is that true, Brooke?
It used to be that even the creator of the account, if it's the consultant, could do it. But I believe that now the person whose name is on the account needs to call in. But if it's easier, they can email, they can do a chat. However, it's easier just to notify customer support of the 2 accounts. They have to have the number and then their name. And then it helps if they know if there's Club HM on either of the accounts or both, just to let them know so they make sure that gets taken care of properly.
Okay, perfect. And what's the best way to send a suggestion? Well, I showed you the help box before. That's certainly a really great way to make a suggestion. In fact, it's the way that I would suggest you make a suggestion, because then it gets put into our support system and we kind of organize and gather those and we say, hey, look, 20 people have made the same kind of suggestion or request. But emailing customer service to make a suggestion. If you have, like a lot of people email in and say, I would love to see a collection of ... But so an art collection for female lacrosse players, very specific. We love your suggestions, so feel free to send those into customer support, and they do end up before my eyes. And, you can make them on Facebook as well, whatever, but don't hesitate to make suggestions and requests, and we definitely try to do what we can to meet those. So anyway, that's really about all I have. Is there anything else, Jeanette, or that you can think of that you'd like us to share?
I think this has been wonderful. I can't see questions. I don't know if anybody has typed in any questions. Brooke, can you see that?
I'm looking. Val, sorry, Val, I don't know how to say your last name, but Val is asking, where are the templates? So Cynthia, maybe if you show the template gallery one more time.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. That's a fun way to close, because the template gallery is my favorite place on the Heritage Makers website. It's this beautiful place, and I'm going to go up here to template gallery, and we're going to start at the beginning by saying just browse the gallery. Browse. And this is what the home page looks like. So go ahead.
I'm sorry, Cynthia, this is Jeanette. I have a question about that. You can see the search results. There's 11,948 projects in there. And I know how to, click on the heart and save the favorite projects. But what often happens when I'm on Google Chrome is I can only go through like one page of the project, and it'll say, once you narrow your search, for example, it'll say there's 300 or 400 projects under your topic that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a browser that works best for showing more of the projects? Because when I get to the bottom of the page, there's no way to move on.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So it's designed to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you've seen the very last of whatever that number of projects is. For example, I like to sort by designer, so I'm going to open designer and I'm going to find Anna and click on her. And so, you know, theoretically, we should be able to see 149 templates. And that's how it's designed, and that's what it should do. But I know that many of us have run into that same problem where you go down and you're like, okay, I just saw 30, and I know there are more, and it's stuck.
Right.
When I've talked to development about that, it really is just sort of a glitchy thing that we're aware of, and they're trying to understand why it's happening. The way I deal with it is to refresh my browser, but no, there's no one internet browser that where that doesn't happen. So just refresh your page and reload and see if that doesn't fix it. It takes a lot for things like this to pull up. So as you keep scrolling, sometimes it just stops because it just hasn't loaded these images as well. So sometimes there's just a little bit of waiting. But refresh and keep trying, and we are still working on making sure that that doesn't happen. But this seemed to work for Anna because I'm going for a while here. So anyway,
it's a glitch that happens on occasion. I've had it happen to me on multiple computers and multiple browsers, but it's very rare. So if it does happen, just refresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. And remember, once you select a parameter, a search parameter, or something that's limited your search, you have to reset it. You have to reset the gallery if you want to start from the beginning. Sometimes people will, I don't know, limit themselves in some way and then forget that they've done that, and then they come up and they search baby, and they're like, why are there only 2 baby templates? That makes no sense. Well, it's because it's baby within, you know, mugs, or it's baby within only Anna's templates. And so, yeah, just remember, always come up and reset. So that's about it from us, and we sure appreciate being allowed to speak with you and enjoy this time together with you.
Thank you so much. This has been super great. Cynthia and Brooke, you have been wonderful, and we really appreciate you taking your time to share this with us. And I will gather, if we have any other further questions from anyone, I will gather those and see if we can get them.
Janet just typed in, but I could probably answer fairly quickly if you'd like me to.
Okay, that's fine.
Janet is asking, Janet Phillips, she's asking, is there an easy way to align objects on facing pages? Example, so a border runs across 2 pages in exactly the same place.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Let me pull up a project and I will see what I can show you. Let's get this back open and then. Okay, perfect. It's just opening my project again, so you should see this. I have to move this GoToMeeting bar out of the way. I love it, but it gets in the way. Okay, and I'm going to turn the design guide off just because it'll be easier. So I just have this scrap page open again, and I'm going to do this kind of quick, but I'm going to add a page here. And I just duplicated it. Yes, save my changes. So now that I have 2 pages. So if this were in a book, or if I were putting this in an album and I wanted a border, for example, to run across the 2 pages and just be a straight line. So then if I go down to the art collection, and we'll just find, this seems to be my favorite collection of the day, I keep going in here. We'll just find just some kind of paper, for example. And we are going to make this into just a border across the bottom. So I'm going to stretch it and make it big, and then I'm going to just crop it down to a border across the bottom. Let's make a border here. And then we'll say I want it back here just behind the papers. So if I take this border and I want it across the other page as well, I'm going to, the easiest way that I've found to do it, and you could do this with photos if you wanted something aligned or however, but it's easy to show with a border. If I just copy, and then I go over onto the next page, and I go to Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place, and it puts it in the exact same location on the page. You'll notice it's on top of the elements because anytime you paste something, it puts it on top in the layering, but I can just fix that by going here and sending it to back and then bringing it forward just in front of my papers. And then if I save, you'll see it updates the thumbnails, and so now it's in the exact same place. So if I were to go to View over here, just pull up the project browse, you'll see that it aligns perfectly. And that's just the easiest way that I've found to align things. If you're doing, say, let me pull this back up. If I've got a picture here, and I know I want a picture that's aligned in the same place on the next page, so we're going to pretend that there isn't anything on the other page, even though there's a picture in this exact same place on the next page. Here, we'll do this. Unlock it, and we'll just move this guy up. And I want a picture in the exact same alignment on the next page. So if I copy it, and then I go on to the next page, Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place. And even if I have, say, this picture, and I want it aligned in the same location, I wrote an entire article in the Support Center, the knowledge base, about using the Align and Distribute tabs, but here's just a little bit of a snippet. So I've got this one that I know is aligned to the same location as the picture on the other page, but I want this one aligned in that position. So if I click the first picture, the one that I pasted, and then I go to First Item, you always want to designate what you're going to align to, whether it's to page, to first item, or to a group of items. So I go to First Item, and then I can easily go Align Top. So it would help if I select the new picture. So I select the first, select the second, to First Item, Align Top. And you'll notice it just snaps to wherever the top of the first item was. If I want it aligned in the exact same spot, I go to First Item, Align Middle, Align Center, and it jumps. And this picture was pasted, so it's layered on top. But if I just delete it, then that picture is in the exact same place as where we copied the original picture. So I hope that helps and covers what she was asking.
That's awesome. You know, if you love Studio and you want to get all involved and ask questions, do join us on our Studio classes like the one we have tonight, where we try to answer your questions live, and it's a lot of fun. So I think we've got to go ahead and jump off the webinar because we've got another meeting coming up. So thanks again, everyone, for your participation and for helping us or letting us join you on this great team call.
Thank you so much, Brooke and Cynthia. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, we'll sign off. Thanks.